Hi everybody, Rechief here, and welcome back to yet another exciting episode of Let's Play Ace Attorney Investigations Miles Edgeworth Prosecutor's Path, episodes 1 through 5 beta. Let's not waste any time, let's find out what's in this man's will. This is... Agent Lang, does that will have something to do with the current case?
You bet it does. It says here, I hereby acknowledge John Marsh as my own son.
What? John's name is in the President's will? Are you certain that will was written by the President?
Yeah, he entrusted it to the Lang clan even before the SS5 incident took place. They'll have to appraise it back home, but by the name of the Lang clan, this is the real deal.
Dijun Huang was the president of an entire nation. The existence of his son would have caused considerable controversy. However, he left behind a will just in case.
This makes it doubly sure. I still can't believe it myself, but there's no room for doubt. John Marsh, you are the son of Dijun Huang, president of Jiangfa.
John. Oh no.
John!
Alright, we're running after him, guys. I was right there at the to be continued. You know, that makes sense, because we were seconds away from a startling revelation. But whatever. Let's just save again and keep going. Alright. Oh, I ran all the way back to the hoof print / oddly shaped hole. John. So that guy was my dad? He found out about his own birth so suddenly. And furthermore, his newfound father is no longer in this world. I'd always been searching for my dad. John. I get it, all right. He's the president. I know it's a complicated situation. But we even met face to face during the filming. So then why, huh? Why didn't he tell me who he really was? I'm sorry, John. Mom, you don't need to apologize. No matter how you look at it, it's all my fault. Yesterday, I broke my promise with you and didn't even notice the fire on the roof. So I destroyed everything. I crushed it all. My dad, and those flowers that my mom carefully grew. John, please. For now, just don't think about anything. Just stay like this for a little while. Just for a little while, okay?
The bond between a parent and child. That's the meaning behind lion lilies. I know it's not my style, but that flower is from Jiangfa.
However, we have no means of protecting that bond. Agent Lang, allow me to say this. The case won't be solved by sentimentality alone. Therefore, shouldn't we do all that we can to solve it?
Yeah, you're right.
The recreation of the past is finished. Were your father's deductions correct?
My old man took his deductions to the grave. He never told anyone about them. So, who knows if they were right or not?
In that case, what about your own deductions? I would like to hear what you think happened based on the recreation. In order for us to get closer to the truth of 12 years ago.
Yeah, I was thinking it's about time. I can see it now. My old man's back. Real close. I'll catch up to him for sure. To the truth that my old man uncovered.
Ooh, it's like a weird, collaborative cross-examination. This should be fun.
There's no mistake that the president went to the orphanage. The stuffed toy is proof of that. He was planning to meet with Amy Marsh. However, the president was kidnapped, and Cameron just happened to witness it. If Cameron hadn't been there, it probably would have just been a kidnapping with no murder. Afterwards, the body was moved to the flower beds and a fake photo was taken.
Was that what really happened 12 years ago? SS5 incident case files are updated in my organizer. Oh, sorry, if the mic picked that up, that was me just drumming on my laptop for no reason. Woo! Okay, let's keep going.
However, there's one thing I still don't get.
Something you don't get?
It's this. Why did they need to take a fake photo? Why would they go through all that trouble and even make the president take part in the photo?
That's true. However, the answer to that riddle must lie somewhere within. Once we get past the layers upon layers of deductions, we shall surely reach it.
Yeah, that's right. I'd like to hear your deductions as well.
Okay. Let's hear them.
There's no mistake that the president went to the orphanage.
Agent Lang, I'd like to verify a few things that may have seemed obvious at first glance. Are we certain that the president actually went to the orphanage?
Okay, I get it. You're saying you want proof.
Everyone's always demanding proof from Mr. Edgeworth, after all. You didn't have to tell him that.
The stuffed toy is proof of that. He was planning to meet with Amy Marsh.
You mean this stuffed animal? The one with the recording device?
That's right. Inside that toy was a recording from John's birth mother, Amy Marsh.
Indeed. She said that she would meet with him at midnight. Wow, you two are perfectly in sync. The truth is becoming clear, like you're peeling off the layers of a scallion. Okay, a scallion doesn't have anything on the inside. Please don't make such a foreboding analogy. The truth is... The truth... Oh no. That's horrible. The truth is becoming clear, like you're peeling off the skin of a wolf.
Could you stop making those foreboding analogies? Let's get back on track.
Kay is so great, and I wish she was in non-Edgeworth Ace Attorney games. She's so great. Anyway.
However, the president was kidnapped, and Cameron just happened to witness it.
I'd also like to verify the details of this point as much as possible. Mr. Cameron witnessed the president and his kidnapper near the orphanage. And Mr. Cameron was standing by the snowman near the road.
Then the murderer picked up a brick, snuck up on him from behind, and wham!
Ah! Okay, we are simply verifying what actually transpired. There's no need to be scared. That was so intense. Half the details of this case just vanished from my brain. Mr. Edgeworth, Mr. Lang, let's carefully verify all the facts of this case.
Yeesh. Well, if you're gonna listen, I'll talk as much as you want. If Cameron hadn't been there, it probably would have just been a kidnapping with no murder.
If he hadn't been there, you say? That's an interesting theory. Care to explain in more detail?
It's simple. Cameron was killed because he saw the kidnapping. The kidnapping itself was a success. If he hadn't been there, no blood would have been spilled.
No blood would have been spilled. You make it sound like it was his own fault for being there. Okay, that's not it. What Agent Lang's trying to say is, simply, besides Mr. Cameron, there were no other casualties at the crime scene. Edgeworth's defiant smirk is making me think that we gotta keep that in mind. For those of you at home who can't see me, which is all of you, I just touched my finger to my temple to kind of signify that we're keeping it in mind. But you could not see me, so it was pointless for me to do that. But now you know. Ah, was that all? Of course, that's obvious. The president was kidnapped, but once the ransom money was paid, he was returned safe and sound. That sounds like an obvious point. However, something about it bothers me. I may need to reevaluate the evidence once more.
You done explaining things to your assistant? I still have one last thing to confirm. Afterwards, the body was moved to the flower beds and a fake photo was taken.
That's also an important point. I'd like to take another good, clean look at the information.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Let's start with what Cameron saw before he was murdered. Cameron witnessed the president and the kidnapper in front of the orphanage.
However, the culprit wanted to conceal the connection between the incident and the orphanage.
That's right. That's why Cameron's original roll of film was disposed of. And a fake photo was taken of them standing outside the grounds of the orphanage.
Yes, and Cameron's body was then moved to match the photo.
It's finally becoming clear. The secret that was buried in the snow for 12 years.
Is this the truth of the SS5 incident? Mr. Edgeworth, what's the matter? There is still something hidden behind this case. Huh? What do you mean? There is a piece of evidence that cannot be explained by Agent Lang's theory. As long as there's a contradiction, we'll have to present it in order to advance our reasoning. Okay, so the one we were looking at was, I think, this one. If Cameron... Right, yeah. If Cameron hadn't been there, it probably would have just been a kidnapping with no murder. So let's look at our stuff. I don't think the Autogras's badge has anything to do with it. I don't think this does, but you never know. Thank you so much for the plan. I'm only glad that we help each other get what we want. So we can do everyone's own. Please get rid of... Okay, no. I don't think so. Crushed to death. Yeah, I don't know why that would have anything to do with this, because it's in the past. That wouldn't make any sense. No. No, probably, maybe? Oh, okay, you can't. Thought I'd be able to check it, but I cannot check it. Commemorative photo? Probably not. No. Monster's footprints. Okay, no. Judge recording the president on the rooftop. President, no, because this is, once again, this is in the present. We're talking about stuff 12 years ago. Mechanics gloves. No. This is 18 years ago, so that's too far back. I take it that we do not need to look at that. All but certain there's a connection between Knightley and Dogan. Dogan's chess partner, whose identity remained unknown until now, was actually Knightley all along. That is proof enough. Tomorrow I shall interrogate him in the warden's office. I'll get him to confess that he's one of Dogan's henchmen. I think he laid to rest in front of the flower bed 12 years ago. You simply must retrieve it. I'm going to come back to this because I think that it could be like, oh, well, obviously Knightley was also there or something. And so there were more people who could have been murdered. I don't know, that seems kind of weak. Bug, no. Cole's tape recorder, no. Bouquet. Aw, what nice flowers. However, I don't think that we need to present them right now. Sleepy Z is never going to not make me laugh. Excellent job, translators, and I mean that unironically. Now this could definitely be something. The president of Zhangfa, Di Junhuang, was kidnapped on February 10th, 12 years ago. Kidnappers demanded a ransom of $100 million. Dai Longlang confirmed that on the evening of the incident, the president was at the Zhangfa embassy until midnight. The president had an appointment at midnight in the courtyard of the orphanage to meet with Amy Marsh. Jack Cameron was a witness. His body seems to have been moved and a fake photo was taken to serve as evidence. So that's, like, the truth as we know it right now, but I think we're trying to prove that wrong. COD. Bludgeoned to death. Time of death, around 1 a.m. Died instantly. He was likely killed just after leaving a message from his cell phone. If Cameron hadn't been there, probably just would have been a kidnapping with no murder. So Cameron was there, so I feel like we probably don't need to present that. Left on Jill Crane's answering machine. From this feeling now, something's not right. President Huang is here of all places. Once more, crap. The lights just went off. I can barely see a thing now. I can't believe it, but it almost looks as though he's being kidnapped. I thought I'd let you know. I don't think that's going to help us here either. Cameron's corpse held it tightly in his right hand. Cameron's corpse held it tightly in his right hand. And stained with Cameron's blood. Jesus Christ, there's so much evidence in this case. Cameron's photo. A fake photo taken after Cameron was murdered. There could be something where it has to do with that, but I don't know what it would be. Part of the incident, a child's prank caused fire on the facility grounds. Didn't belong to Cameron. Culprit likely placed the shoes on the victim's feet after he died. Look at the crime. Oh, hey! Wait a minute. Okay. I'm going to try presenting this mysterious blood stain here, because I think the reasoning is going to be like, you know, blood was spilled at the scene of the crime, and that blood was not Cameron's, which suggests that even if Cameron hadn't been there, at the very least someone was attacked, right? And that looks like a lot of blood. I feel like they probably died due to blood loss, whoever that person was. Let's find out. Yes! Good. I'm glad we got that. If the eyewitness Cameron had not been there, no murder would have taken place. Is that really the case?
The criminal's goal was only to kidnap the president. If there were no witnesses, there would be no need to commit murder, right?
And what if Cameron wasn't the only one who was murdered? There was a large bloodstain near the flower beds. However, Cameron was murdered near the snowman. Ergo, this bloodstain could not have belonged to Cameron. Someone else's blood was spilled, and quite a vast amount at that.
Hey, Mr. Prosecutor, do you have any idea what you're saying?
I do. It's hard to believe, however, that is what the evidence indicates. I bet it was the real president, and then that's why there's the fake one now. On that night, 12 years ago, there were 2 murders.
Are you saying that the other murder was covered up? Who the heck could have been killed?
A murder that was cleverly concealed. All traces of it were erased. And the incident itself was completely deleted from the case files. However, excuse me. However, there's one piece of evidence that still remains intact after 12 years. This piece of evidence shows that something happened that night. Let's just start from the back and then go forward. It doesn't take too long. Could be the shoes. I mean the photo. There's a lot of shit that says that something happened last night. Could be the button. But no, it's got Cameron's blood. Oh, wait a minute. I skipped right over this. A drawing of the incident. Oh! It's got to be this, because that's clearly Sirhan Dogan. So this is like telling us something that nothing else is telling us. The other murder incident was buried in the dark by Blaise de Best. However, there is still one piece of evidence that remains. Agent Lang, it survived by your father's hands.
My old man, you say?
Please recall. There was one more thing that was hidden along with the traces of the murder. And that is the existence of the boy who caused the fire. Why did Blaise make the boy disappear? It's because he saw something that he wasn't supposed to see. What was the thing he wasn't supposed to see? Everything is drawn in this picture.
The drawing my old man had.
The person drawn on the right is most likely the president. The Mozilla doll is also drawn near him. And the person standing opposite him is... Oh, you know who it is. You know who it is. Where? Okay, here he is. A man with a knife and a large black dog. He is none other than Sirhan Dogan. What? The assassin? Why would an assassin appear before a president? The answer is clear. Indeed, what occurred that night on the orphanage grounds 12 years ago was not a kidnapping. It was a presidential assassination.
Oh, ow!
Then Miss Rowland and Mr. Blaze were... Yes, the two are likely partners in crime. One furnished the orphanage she used as the scene of the incident, and the other covered up the young boy's testimony. It's likely that Mr. Cameron was murdered because he witnessed the assassination itself. After all, the kidnapping never actually happened.
Stop messing around! You're saying that the president was assassinated 12 years ago? We just found his body today! He's been alive up until now!
That's right. I mean, we met him ourselves. If the president was assassinated 12 years ago, and the president's body was found today, that would imply there were two presidents. Ooh, guess who's right? It's me, it's me, cheat, right? Yes, oh, I like this case a lot. Yeah, and that can't be right. Are you sure about that? There is the possibility that there were two presidents. That's right. Up until now, I've been getting a strange feeling from the president.
Even so, I still respect the man. Zhengfa is a small country, but he carried the nation with his strength.
The image of President Huang that Agent Lang described...
You are wrong.
He revealed his true form. Differs far too greatly from the President Huang we knew. It's as if they were two entirely different people. If there were in fact two Zhengfa presidents, exactly how would such a scenario be possible? What would make the existence of the two presidents possible? If we were to assume that one of them was a body double, wouldn't it be possible then?
A body double?
President Huang possessed immense power and authority in Zhengfa. I'm sure there were those who envied his position and made attempts on his life. Yes, just as he was attacked a few days ago at Gourd Lake.
It's true. There were those who sought Huang's life from time to time. But I can't easily believe there were two presidents. At least, not without any evidence.
Do I have evidence that proves there were two presidents? Ah, boy. Alright. Well, I only see one president in this photo. Probably not that. Maybe that. It'd be kind of weird if you had to be like, because the mysterious bloodstain belongs to the other president. But, you know, weird stuff like that has happened in Ace Attorney games before. Maybe the victim's shoes, because maybe they're the president's shoes? That's so stupid. Let's try it. If you look at this evidence, you'll see that there were two presidents. Okay, I'm wrong.
Hey, Mr. Prosecutor. Unfortunately, I have no idea what you're talking about. Lang Ji says, evidence doesn't speak. Evidence with no meaning won't tell us anything.
Looks like this wasn't it. If only we knew that the president was in two different places at the same time. Then we could prove that there were two people. Let's look at the evidence. Excuse me. Let's look at the evidence and reorganize the incident again.
How could there have been two Mr. Huangs? As I suspected. It's impossible. If you want to say there were two people, show me the proof.
Do I have evidence that proves there were two presidents? Oh, evidence and presidents kind of rhyme. That's cute. Oh, Joel, are you asleep already? President Huang. Oh. Okay, so that's only mentioning one president. Let's just look at like all of the documents we have. Likely after leaving a message on his cell phone, so it's not that. SS5 incident files. President Zhengfa Huang was kidnapped February 10th, 12 years ago. Kidnappers demanded a ransom of $100 million. Day Long Line confirmed that on the evening of the incident, the president was at the Zhengfa embassy until midnight. Wait a minute. The president had an appointment at midnight in the courtyard of the orphanage to meet with Amy Marsh. On the evening of the incident, the president was at the Zhengfei embassy. This has got to be it, right? Because it seems like he... Like, one of these... If there aren't two presidents, then one of these has to be incorrect. He cannot simultaneously have been in his embassy and at the orphanage. That's got to be it. Yes. Has Agent Lang not noticed the contradiction? Or has he noticed it but can't admit it?
What is it, Mr. Prosecutor? Don't shout something out only to suddenly clam up.
According to the recording on the doll, the president visited the orphanage at midnight. However, that should not have been possible. Huh? Why's that? Why? Because at the time, the president should have been at the embassy. He was together with Agent Lang's father. So, Agent Lang, you really did notice. He was in two places at the same time. Ergo, there must have been two presidents. Then, which of the two was the real president on that day 12 years ago? Most likely the one who died.
Who contracted Dogen to murder Huang?
Okay, I should try that again.
Who? That's better. Who contracted Dogen to murder Huang?
In order to learn that, first, we must have a look at the evidence that we proved was false earlier. And the piece of evidence we know to be false is... Oh, it's the photograph. The photo taken with Cameron's camera was taken after he was murdered. And he was murdered because he witnessed the presidential assassination. In other words, the photo must have been taken following the assassination. Given that, who is the president pictured in the fake photo? We must consider him to be the body double. In other words,
the body double and had the real president murdered and then took his place.
Patricia Rowland and Blaze must have cooperated in that plan.
Hold it. Huang's body was never found. Just where could it have disappeared to?
The answer to that is already quite apparent. This is where the real president's body was. Okay. It was in his shoes! Okay, no, not that. Whoops. It was burned away.
Hey, Mr. Prosecutor, can you put the jokes aside? Okay, I guess not. I can't believe that Mr. Huang's body was in that kind of place. I can't believe that it was in hell.
Gah! I guess it wasn't there. This is just the place that This is the place that the real president was killed. Furthermore, what was the person responsible doing here? If I think about that, I'm sure to know the location of the president's body.
Hey, Mr. Prosecutor, where did the president's body disappear to? Maybe you really don't have an answer for that.
No, Agent Lang, the answer to that is already quite apparent. Okay. Okay, I guess not. Okay, probably not that. Because that's just kind of like talking about where they were, not where they went. Orange interrogated him and confessed. Laid to rest in front of the flower bed 12 years. Oh, could he have been buried in the flower bed? Okay, no. Oh, I just had an idea. They weren't digging up ransom money. They were digging up his corpse. Yeah! Last night, there was something Blaze had to unearth with his own two hands. That item was not the ransom. It was something far more important. Ah, so Blaze unburied the real president's body. The possibility is quite high.
What'd you say?
The bones from the body buried 12 years ago would have still remained. According to Mr. Powers, construction was to begin soon at this lot. That was the deadline, both for the movie and retrieval of the body. Because they would have found the body when they started the construction. Agent Lang, let us search the footprints that Blaze dug up.
Yeah. If the body was buried there, there'd be traces of it. Hey, somebody call forensics. I have the results of the search. We found traces in the dirt that suggest a body was buried here. So it was Huang after all. We also recovered the skeletal remains that Blaze DeBest dug up. They were in his home. In addition to the bone structure, the dental records and the bone fractures all match up. We can confirm that it was indeed President Huang. Man, this is wild.
So the real President Huang really was killed 12 years ago. The SS-5 incident was a murder. Monster's footprints data updated in my organizer. So the SS-5 incident was actually a murder incident. But there's so much information, it's way too confusing. Indeed, let us take this opportunity to review the details of the case. First, the real president came to the orphanage, right? 12 years ago, the true President Huang visited the orphanage in order to meet his son. The footsteps in the snow that we thought belonged to Mr. Cameron were most likely made by the president at the time. Were most likely made by the president at that time. President Huang was supposed to meet his son here. However, the one who actually showed up was the assassin, Sirhan Dogan. He came here to meet his son, but he was murdered instead. How horrible. A man like Dogan shows no mercy. And after that, the second tragedy occurred. You mean Mr. Cameron's murder? Indeed, Mr. Cameron saw the decisive moment. After the real president was killed by Dogan, his body was carried to the rear courtyard by the team of kidnappers. Mr. Cameron must have witnessed that moment from the orphanage entrance. Oh. Although he himself believed that he'd actually witnessed a kidnapping. I see, so they were dragging the body off, but he thought it was an unconscious body, not a dead body. Ooh, wow. Furthermore, by this time, the body double who had come to meet up with Blaze and Ms. Rowland was already standing behind Mr. Cameron. And then the witness to the incident, Mr. Cameron, was killed by the body double. So, was Mr. Cameron's corpse also carried by the body double? Yes, that seems likely. But there wasn't anything at the crime scene that looked like the body double's footprints. I've already figured out how he accomplished that. There is a piece of evidence that would have made it possible. What did the body double use to move the body without leaving any footprints? Oh. Yeah. So, okay. So he moved the body over while he was wearing these shoes. Then he put the shoes on Cameron and, like, stepped probably into the fire area to get away, and so didn't leave any footprints. That's my theory. This is almost certainly how the body double carried Mr. Cameron's corpse. After Mr. Cameron was killed, the president's body double carried him into the middle of the garden. I suspect the body double was wearing the same shoes as the real president at the time, If he made sure to step precisely on top of the footprints left by the real president... Oh, I see. Okay. Yep. Ah, since the shoes were the same, there would only be one set of footprints left behind in the snow. I think I've got a pretty good grasp on the SS5 incident now. But there's still one more thing I don't get. What's that? Why did they need to stage the abduction? Because Mr. Cameron witnessed the incident, he saw the president at the orphanage. He left behind witness testimony on Miss Crane's answering machine. Even Blaze couldn't make that disappear. Ergo, the body double needed a reason for the president to have been at the orphanage. And that's why they prepared the fake kidnapping charade. The people in the fake photo are the body double and most likely Patricia Rowland. The person in the coat is Miss Rowland? What makes you say that? The two would have to leave the orphanage in order to take the picture. Just like when he moved the body, the double used the real president's footprints. Ah, so the second set of footprints must belong to the person in the coat. Indeed, we originally believed that those footprints belonged to Cameron's killer. They were size 7 footprints, too small for Blaze's feet. Thus we can presume that the person playing the part of the kidnapper was Patricia Rowland. Hidden in the shadow of the presidential kidnapping was a presidential assassination.
I see. So that's why my old man...
Why he... what?
The old man must have realized that a murder had taken place. After all, he had the kid's drawing.
However, that picture was never presented as evidence. Your father likely took it from the young witness during the investigation and hid it.
He had to have known that Huang was dead. But what if he had revealed that back then?
Reveal the death of the president, the backbone of Jiang Fa, it would have caused chaos.
And that's why my old man took the secret to his grave. He even took the blame for the kidnapping, knowing that would be the fall of the House of Lang.
So this is the truth that Agent Lang's father hid 12 years ago. And now it's all become clear. SS5 incident case files updated in my organizer. Oh, no more groovy music. Oh well. Ooh, but who's this? Huh?
What? Who's there?
Oh, that bell. It's... You know who it is. I know who it is. But we're going to have to get it confirmed on the next episode because we're 8 minutes over because this case is so good that I keep forgetting to look at the clock. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Next time, we have a confrontation with a presidential assassination. It should have been assassinator, I guess. But, you know, had to rhyme. Gotta rhyme. Gotta rhyme and rhyme in time. I can't believe I just ate a lime. It was really sad.